That's an opportunity for me to say something that I want to say to the people of Sacramento, but also now under my guise and umbrella of being the statewide co-chair of Governor Newsom's homeless task force. Mark Ridley Thomas, the county supervisor from Los Angeles, who's my co-chair, he and I are putting forward a proposal today that calls on the state of California.
What, you're making news right now?
I'm making news. You want me to make news? Let's make news. Calling on the state of California to do two things that we've never done before. Number one is to declare a statewide right to shelter.
Like New York does.
Like New York does. 95% of New York's homeless population is indoors. Now, there's been criticism of the New York model because people stay in shelters for too long, but we can learn from their experience. We can put limits and incentives to move people into more permanent housing. But the right to shelter, and here's why it's so crucial. In my opinion, Marcos, we have lost the proverbial forest through the trees. We are so focused on the 10-year plan to fix homelessness, on the drive to build more permanent supportive housing. A lot of this has been my life's work. Prop 63 and No Place Like Home, the housing offshoot. I believe in it, and I believe that it's ultimately where we need to get people. But in the meantime, we have sort of tacitly accepted as a society that it's okay for people to live under bridges, on the riverbank, and on the streets while we, quote, fix the problem. Guess what? It's not working. I'm not done yet. And I know this is a conversation. There is a second half to this proposal. And it's just as important. And people might be surprised, given my politics and my history, to hear this. Mark Ridley Thomas and I are calling for a legal obligation for people to come inside and to take shelter. Now, we cannot enforce that until we actually implement the right to shelter and create the capacity. But until there is a prod that says we are going to bring people indoors and we're going to invest what it takes to do so. New York City shelters 75,000 people a year for $1.6 billion. Our unsheltered homeless population in California is estimated to be about 90,000. So a little bit more, but relatively comparable. $1.6 billion statewide to get tens of thousands of people off the streets and to clean up our streets and to deal with the frustration that people have. We cannot wait for the long-term housing strategy of the state of California to take effect and to be implemented before we get people inside. And then, by the way, it's much harder to bring people into permanent housing until and unless they are inside.